Good evening, Professor Ware. Good evening, classmates. I am the sixth reporter, and my focus is all about the sources of news, rules of thumb in news gathering, and handling interview in news gathering. So first one, let us tackle the sources of news. News articles are built on facts, meaning they should be true and reliable. So a good journalist needs a strong ability to identify important and newsworthy issues. So this skill is called having nose for news. So under the sources of news, we have the beat, the written and printed documents, observation, tips from co-writers, teachers, and students, the Gantt charts of schedule, calendar of activities, and the last one is interviewing key informants. So the first one is beat. Beat is the stable assignment of the reporter. So from the word itself, stable, meaning the reporter is doing it consistently. So beat is the specific topic or area that a reporter regularly covers. It is their assigned focus. So reporters become experts in their beats, allowing them to provide accurate news on their assignments. So there are other types of beats. The first one is the political beat, the business beat, crime beat, sports beat, entertainment beat, health beat, and education beat. So I will not further explain about those beats because I think it should be tackled by the other reporters. And now let's proceed to number 2, written and printed documents. A good journalist is resourceful in looking newsworthy issues. One of his or her sets of sources includes public documents, either electronically or physically posted. So a good journalist knows how to find important news. One way they do this is by using public documents, which can be found online or in physical locations. These documents can help them gather facts and report accurate stories or news. The example of public documents that we can find online is the government websites, whether it shows the laws, the budget, the public records, or the police records. The examples that can be found physical is in City Hall, where we can find the birth certificate, the marriage records, the land titles, or in police station, which we can find a crime records. Number 3, observation. Keen observation helps uncover important stories. So writers use their senses to observe and report on events in their communities. So keen observation helps journalists discover important stories. Writers use their senses, the sight, hearing, touch, taste, and smell to notice details and accurately report on events happening in their communities. Now let us have the fourth one, tips from co-writers, teachers, and students. So the role of co-writers: collaborate by sharing ideas, giving constructive feedback, and helping refine articles. So the role of this is we can work together by sharing ideas and give a helpful feedback. And the role of the teachers: they guide students in journalistic ethics, writing techniques, and fact-checking to ensure credibility. So they provide guidance on journalism ethics and writing techniques. The last one is the students, wherein they bring fresh perspectives, research thoroughly, and practice writing to enhance their storytelling skills. So they offer fresh perspectives from the writer. Now let's proceed to number 5, Gantt chart of schedule or calendar of activities. This helps organize and track tasks in campus journalism. It visually displays deadlines and responsibilities, ensuring a smooth workflow. So this helps organize and track journalism tasks effectively. It visually outlines the deadlines, the assigned responsibilities, and progress, ensuring that articles and publications are completed on time. Now let's move on to number 6, interviewing key informants. This is the gathering of information on a person-to-person basis, straight from the experts or any resource person as a credible source. So it is a method of gathering information directly from experts or knowledgeable individuals. This ensures that journalists get accurate first-hand details from the credible sources. So for example, you are tasked to make a news about climate change. So what you are going to do is you are going to interview a science teacher to get a reliable facts and experts' opinions to the issues. And now for these more sources of news, first we have blogs. Blogs are independent news and opinions without corporate or political influence. They cover various topics and offer alternative viewpoints to mainstream media. So, meaning, these are the independent platforms where writers share news, opinions, and insights without corporate or political influence. So, they cover wide-range topics from personal experiences to current events and often provide alternative viewpoints. So, I have here two examples of vlogs in the Philippines. So I have here two examples of vlogs. First one is When in Manila, wherein you can find their site at the Google, and they inform people through writing it on the page. And the second one, I know you're all familiar with this, we have the Raptor, wherein we can find their page at the Facebook or in different social media platforms. Second one, we have the citizen journalism. Citizen journalism allows ordinary people to act as reporters by sharing news, photos, and videos. So with smartphones and internet, anyone can report events as they happen. So citizen journalism enables ordinary people to report news by sharing photos, videos, and updates through social media. So they provide real-time information than other traditional media may not immediately cover. So I have here one example of citizen journalism, which we can find it in different social media platforms. So my example is I found this in Facebook about the Bagyong Pepito that happened recently. So I will show you a picture of it, and this is the example of the citizen journalism. The last one is the hyperlocal news. Hyperlocal news focuses on small communities such as neighborhood or interest group. It is mostly found online and covers topics that traditional media ignore. This focuses on reporting events and issues within small communities. So these stories are overlooked by mainstream media but are important to the people directly affected. So I have here an example of hyperlocal news. For example is the lost dog, wherein a community Facebook page posts about the lost dog in a neighborhood. So you have here the picture of the example picture of hyperlocal news. Now let us move on to rules of thumb in news gathering. So the first one is see for yourself. Experiencing an event firsthand allows a journalist to report accurately and vividly. Seeing it with your own eyes ensures truthful storytelling, unlike relying on second-hand information. So this means that experiencing something firsthand helps a journalist report accurately and vividly. When you witness an event with your own eyes, you can describe it truthfully rather than relying on information from others, which may be inaccurate and incomplete. The second one is find the person who knows. A journalist should seek information from key people directly involved in the issue. Speaking to reliable sources ensures accuracy and reduces bias. So this means that a journalist should get information from people directly involved in event or issues. So taking reliable sources helps ensure that facts are accurate and avoids misinformation or bias. Number 3, we have compare all versions. A journalist should gather multiple perspectives instead of relying just one source. Comparing different versions helps identify inconsistencies and ensures accurate reporting. So a journalist should gather all different perspectives instead of just relying on one source. So checking multiple viewpoints helps spot inconsistencies and ensures information is accurate and fair. Now we have number 4, be tactful and courteous. So a journalist should be respectful and professional when gathering information. Being polite and staying focused on relevant questions shows consideration for interviewees' time. So a good journalist should always be polite and respectful when asking questions. This helps make interviewee comfortable and encourages to share useful information. So I will show you a video clip of a journalist that is doing unprofessionalism.
There's a particular brand of commentary on the airwaves known by many Filipino listeners as the Tulfo style. This usually entails the Tulfo brothers openly berating government officials and persons of authority on air, often hurling cuss words to their faces in response to an ordinary citizen's complaint. This style resonates strongly with the masses, painting the Tulfos as defenders of the common people. But last week, it seems the Tulfos have found their match.
General Bautista or Secretary Bautista, hindi ka na general ng AFP, huwag ka nang magpa-importante at magpa-espesyal. Sagutin mo ang tawag dahil ang DSWD ang kinalalagyan mo ngayon para sa mahihirap yan. Sagutin mo ka. Isa ka pang general ka na, wala kang kwenta. Ewan ko ba bakit ka nalagay ng Pangulo dyan, buwang ka?
On his radio program, Tulfo brother Erwin lashed out at Social Welfare Secretary Rolando Bautista after Erwin was unable to get him for an interview. He cursed at Bautista repeatedly, called the official stupid, useless, and at some point threatened to slap Bautista in the face and dunk Bautista's head inside a toilet bowl.
Sampaling kita pag nakita kita buwang ka, walang pakialam kay retired general ka, ngudmurin ko yung mukha mo sa inidoro.
Soldiers got wind of Tulfo's tirade and soon took to social media to express their outrage. They said the radio man had no right to insult a former 3-star general who not only served as commanding general of the entire Philippine Army and commander of the Presidential Security Group, but also stayed and fought with his men in the front lines of the Marawi siege.
Nung mapanood ko yung video, nung una talagang hindi ko tinapos eh. Hindi ko ma-carry. Bigat ha? Bigat yun. General Bautista, fellow cavalier, na tinitingala ng mga sundalo sa kanyang naging kontribusyon sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. Hindi lang siya basta isang opisyal. He belongs to the elite. He is a manager, a leader, a commander, rolled into one. His last few years or months of command was devoted in Marawi.
Tulfo initially issued an apology for the shouting, but did not take back his criticism of Bautista. And so the reckoning by the uniformed services continued. On Friday, the Philippine Military Academy Alumni Association Incorporated announced the possible filing of charges against Tulfo for tarnishing the reputation of a member of PMA Sandiwa class of 1985. On Monday, the Association of General and Flag Officers also weighed in, calling Tulfo a bad example to striving and future media men. And in the midst of all this, both the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police simultaneously pulled out their men previously assigned as security detail to the Tulfos. The AFP pulled out 2 Marines securing Mon Tulfo, special envoy to China, but added had they had security detail to Erwin Tulfo, they would have recalled them too, primarily for his bad behavior, and second, to bring the Marines back to the front lines.
It's also about him being a cabinet secretary. He is an alter ego of the president, no less. No? The point being, kahit ano pa siguro ang maging kadahilanan, siguro hindi naman dapat umabot sa ganong klaseng parang, sabi nga ng iba, paglapastangan na doon sa pagkatao.
The PNP then recalled the security detail of Erwin himself, brothers Ben and Rafi, and Rafi's wife Jocelyn. The PNP said this was part of a periodic review, but PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde, himself a member of PMA Sinagtala class of 1986, said the berating of Bautista is part of it.
It has something to do with these comments to, of course, to the Secretary of DSWD, but that is not the main reason.
Okay, it's just one of them.
Yes.
The palace meanwhile called on the public to move on from the tussle, saying that while Secretary Bautista enjoyed the trust of Malacanang, people should accept Tulfo's apology too. Rafi Tulfo meanwhile encouraged his brother to make a more sincere public apology.
It was uncalled for. It was below the belt. Tinawagan ko siya this weekend, sinabi ko sa kanya, Erwin, no amount of explanation can justify that action. Maling-mali ka doon, tol. Napakinggan ko yung interview mo na nagbigay ka ng apology. Medyo hilaw yun, tol. Kung pwede, humingi ka pa ng another apology, public apology. This time, magpakita ka ng sincerity para makita talaga nilang lahat na nagpapakumbaba ka. And ginawa ni Erwin yan, he apologized. Nagpakumbaba siya. And for that, if Erwin is listening, sumasaludo ako sa kanya.
In an interview Monday, Tulfo issued an unequivocal apology to Bautista. Shada Zambrano, ABS-CBN News.
The fifth one is make and keep friends. So building good relationships with sources is important in journalism. Reliable informants help the journalist stay updated on important stories, especially when covering a specific beat. So journalists should build good relationships with sources. So trusted sources provide important updates and inside information, especially for reporters covering the same topic regularly. Now we have the last one, printed. Unpublished news is wasted news. Once a journalist gathers information, it should be written and shared with the audience. So, news is useless if it is not shared. After gathering information, a journalist must write and publish story so the public can stay informed. Now let us move on to our last topic, which is the handling interview in news gathering. So I will not give further explanation about this topic because it is just a introduction about the topic for the next reporter. So in handling interview in news gathering, the interview is the bedrock of information gathering and news writing. It is defined as the process of dyadic, relational communication with a predetermined and serious purpose designed to interchange behavior involving the asking and answering questions. So, an interview is the key method journalists use to gather information for news stories. It is simply structured conversation where one person, the interviewer, asks question and other person, the interviewee, provides answers. The first one, dyadic denotes that the interview is a person-to-person interaction between two parties. So dyadic means person to person. It means that it is direct conversation between two people, so the interviewer and the interviewee. Now this ensures that the journalists get the first-hand information instead of relying on second-hand sources. Number 2, relational strongly suggests an interpersonal connection between the interview parties. So relational means the connection between both parties. So a good interview is not just about question and answer. It is the interviewer builds relationship with the interviewee so that it creates comfortable environment for open discussion. Number 3. Predetermined and serious purpose means that at least one of the two parties comes to the interview with a goal and has planned to the interview to focus on specific subject matter. So this means that predetermined means serious purpose. So it is a planned interview with goal. So interview are not just a normal conversation or a random conversation. The journalist prepares in advance with specific questions and clear objectives. Number 4 is interchanging behavior connotes sharing of expectations, roles, feelings, and information. So interchanging behavior means sharing expectations, roles, and informations. So an interview is not just one-sided. Both journalist and the interviewee share information to play active roles in conversation. And now to the last one, asking and answering questions. Taken as single process, it is crucial to the interviewing process. Questions serves as tools to obtain information. So this is an asking and answering questions, which is the main process of the interview. So this gives information to the interviewer. So that is all for my part. If you have clarifications or questions, just do not hesitate to ask me and I will answer it directly.